What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. So I do the best I can to try to put out as much content as possible to help give you the tools you need to launch and grow a successful private practice, and by extension, the tools you need to have a great business. But despite all the content that I put out there, in addition to all the resources you can find on the internet and beyond, I still hear from so many of you that you feel like you're not ready to start your private practice or launch that side hustle you've always dreamed of, or pursue your business goals. Whatever it is, you say that maybe you're not experienced enough, you don't have the necessary skills or the right personality, or maybe you've tried it once before and it seemed to have failed, and so that's a sign that it's not for you. Now trust me, I completely get it. Not only have I felt that way before, I still do. That totally inadequate, who the heck am I to put myself out there and launch a successful business thing person? Well, I'm gonna call it like it is. This is self-doubt. And self-doubt is so powerful in holding us back from pursuing our dreams. Well, in today's video, I'm gonna offer a reframe to help us see self-doubt as actually a helpful tool. And I'll also name some tips to help you move through self-doubt so that, you can go for your dreams if that's what you want. Welcome to Private Practice Skills. I'm Dr. Marie Fang, psychologist in private practice. I post videos offering tools I learned the hard way about starting and growing private practice so that you don't have to. Let me tell you, self-doubt is an ugly beast. I know so many of you all who have all the tools you absolutely need in order to make your business goals come true, only to opt out because you doubt yourself. This is also sometimes referred to as imposter syndrome, or that feeling that you're a fraud or somehow inadequate. And this feeling is there regardless of whether it's a reflection of reality or not. You could be totally qualified and feel like you're not. BJ Davis gave this really great TEDx talk on self-doubt, and he said this about self-doubt: it's only true if you believe it. This is such a poignant truth, and the whole TEDx talk is awesome, so I've linked to it below if you want to watch the whole thing. So let's get something straight. Just because you experience self-doubt, it doesn't mean those doubts are a reflection of reality. Another important point about self-doubt is they are highly unlikely to ever go away as long as you remain in a state of inaction. Self-doubt is an inevitable, inherently human characteristic. None of us are exempt from this experience. So if self-doubt is so inevitable, what options do we have in order to deal with it? Because I don't want self-doubt to hold you back any longer. I'm sorry to break it to you, but the only solution is to bring self-doubt with you. It's not going away, so you might as well pursue your dreams while you're filled with that self-doubt. Now, with that said, there are a few tools you can use to mitigate the power of self-doubt so it's not just dictating all of your life. So here are a few helpful tips in order to navigate that imposter syndrome. Tip number 1, identify where your actions are not in alignment with your values. And for anywhere where it looks like your actions aren't aligned with your values, ask yourself why they're not in alignment. So for example, let's say one of your key values is having work-life balance, but in the meantime, you've been working at a job that's left you chronically burnt out for a long time. So your action of working at this chronically burnt out job is not aligning with your value of work-life balance. Since those things are not in alignment, you would want to ask yourself why they're not in alignment. So maybe you're feeling like there's not really any chance that you'll be able to find a job that offers that work-life balance that you really want. Well, now it's time to ask why. Why do you believe that that job isn't out there, or that you're not able to get that job, or you're not qualified for it, or whatever your beliefs are around that? We want to get to know that why really well, and chances are there are some holes in your reasoning there. Now, a lot of us believe our reasoning so much, even if it's inaccurate, that we do need some help with this one. So if you're not noticing any holes in your own reasoning, it's a good time to pull in the feedback of a trusted loved one, because they can probably catch those holes really quickly. Tip number 2, identify enablers of self-doubt. So inevitably, there are factors within your environment, whether it be people or media, that are fueling those thoughts of self-doubt that are already there within your mind. It's helpful to identify them and set appropriate boundaries as needed, so there's no need to add more fuel to the fire. You already got plenty of fuel inside your own brain. So for example, for me, Anytime I scroll through my Facebook news feed or my Instagram feed, very quickly I find myself comparing myself to the successes or perceived successes of all the other people that I'm scrolling through, and very quickly I go down a negative spiral of just feeling like I'm a total nobody. So I've set a boundary where I'm not allowed to scroll on social media. If I log into social media, it's because I have a very specific purpose. I log in, I do that task, I log off, no scrolling. Tip number 3, identify your encouragers. So similar to the last tip, encouragers could either be people or actions. So identify the people around you who cheer you on, tell you that you can do this, and when needed, can gently offer you some practical advice that might be very helpful to you. Similarly, look for actions that are really encouraging to you. They help lift you up. I mean, this might be things like meditation, getting yourself outside, going for some exercise, or maybe the types of media that you consume, listening to certain podcasts, things like that. Now, tip number 4 is a little controversial, but I invite you to see self-doubt as a teacher. So rather than seeing those self-doubts as sort of an invitation to totally feel deflated and give up on whatever your goals are, I encourage you instead to see if there's any actually valuable lesson living within the self-doubt. So an example that comes up all the time that I hear from you all is if, let's say, you're wanting to start a business, there's that voice of self-doubt that says you don't really have the business knowledge that it takes in order to have a successful private practice. Well, there may be some truth in that statement, but rather than seeing that as a reason to give up and say, well, business is not for me because I don't know about business, maybe see if there's an opportunity there. Maybe you would really be helped by learning a little bit about those business tools that could be so helpful in getting you set up for success in business, in your private practice. And if you don't know where to start, then just start by doing something, which leads us to our next tip. Tip number 5 is just do it. Just do it. Because like I said earlier in this video, the only remedy to self-doubt is action. And if you keep doing nothing forever, you will continue to wallow in your self-doubt. Trust me, I've tried it. That's what happens. Even if you don't know what the best next step is, it's better to try a step than do nothing at all. Because even if somehow the step you take is kind of headed in the wrong direction, you're very quickly going to find that dead end and get more information about where to reroute in a better direction. But doing nothing will never get you anywhere different than where you are now. Well, I hope you found this to be an encouraging and practical springboard to help you carry your self-doubt with you, move through it, while also leaning into your goals and your values. I think you're going to find this really helpful, equipped with all the other tools that you can find on my channel. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. TherapyNotes helps with all aspects of practice management, from scheduling to notes to billing to having a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform to meet with your clients, which is wonderful news because if you're filled with self-doubt, any hiccup along the way that makes it feel harder to launch your practice is just another hurdle that might stop you from actually doing it. So if you're interested in checking out TherapyNotes, you can get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Well, thanks for joining me in this video. I hope you find it helpful, especially if you're prone to experiencing self-doubt. Let me know in the comments if there are any tools that you found especially helpful in order to help you move through and mitigate that self-doubt. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well. I feel like the lighting is already going. We're losing light, everybody. Oh, but now I'm pasty. Now I'm pasty. Now I don't know what to say. Okay. Self-doubt is an inevitable.